Hi everybody, this week I'll be talking about step-in harnesses. I've had a few requests from people who have watched our other harness training videos and asked, well, what am I supposed to do about a harness where my dog has to put their feet into the leg holes? And so today I'm just going to cover a few options for getting your dog's legs into a step-in harness without manhandling them. And there are a lot of ways you could do this, and you can always do fancy training. I've tried to select 4 options that will allow you to get it done without a ton of training, and may allow you to do it with just using things your dog already knows how to do. All right, so let's jump to the slides. 4 ways to get paws into a step-in harness. Who is this for? This is for you if you want to use a step-in harness for your dog, but your dog is somewhat sensitive to handling. So I assume that if you can just pick up your dog's paws and place them into a harness, you're not watching this video, most likely. Now, why use a step-in harness? I have to say that I usually don't use step-in harnesses because I do find them a little tougher to put on without doing a lot of invasive handling to a dog. But you may want to use a step-in harness if your dog really hates harnesses that go over their head and you haven't found a good one that you like that just clips on, that doesn't have to go over the head. There are also some really soft, comfy mesh harnesses that are only step-in, especially for small dogs. And the soft material means you may have less chafing, and if you need to leave a harness on for a prolonged period, something like this might be a good idea. Okay, so option number 1 for getting legs into a step-in harness is luring with treats into position. And probably if you've tried anything, you've tried this already and have found that it is pretty fussy and not the easiest to do. But I did want to mention this, and I'll show you in the video in a second a couple things I have found to make this a bit easier. Another option is sit pretty. If you have taught your dog how to sit up sort of on their haunches, so their front paws are up in the air, you may be able to put the harness on that way without grabbing their paws. If your dog knows a shake or a high five, you can also use this to get them to put their paw into a harness, and I'll show you some video of Pancake and Juno actually demonstrating this. Some dogs, especially if you can get away with a little bit of handling of their paws, you may be able to get the harness on while they are busy working on a licky mat or a snuffle mat. I should mention that if your dog is likely to guard items from you, especially food, so if they are likely to growl or snap or bite if you are handling them while they're eating, then this would not be a good option for you. And then I just wanted to mention, for those of you who are sort of more into training or maybe have already trained your dog to do some tricks, you may be able to train your dog to place their paw on a target and then place that target sort of underneath the harness where they need to put their leg through. So for example, if you have taught your dog to hit buttons with their paw, even maybe, put their paws on a scratch board, you might be able to use something you've already taught them, or if you just enjoy training tricks, you could teach a paw target and then use that for the harness. Okay, so let's take a look at some video examples. All right, here's some couple examples of using food to lure into position. With Pancake, I found it easier if he was sitting, and I just moved the food lure around until he got his paw in the right spot. For Juno, I found that using this little ramp was easier than just kind of having it on the floor. I think because it lined her up, she had less, option for going off to the side. So let me rewind this for a second. So right here, I first just put the harness on the ramp and then looked to see where was she putting her paws naturally when she stepped up. And then, okay, it's lower down, so I moved the harness down a bit. And then it was relatively easy to get her paws in. Now, of course, this harness I was using with her has big leg holes. Here's a sit pretty example. Pancake sit pretty is not very steady. Which is why you see him being propped up by a big fluffy quilt here. So the sit pretty is the dog is sitting upright with their paws in the air like this, and then I just kind of line up his paw with the leg hole in the harness, and then I can put it on. shake or high five. So here I just have my hand under the hole, the leg hole, and I just ask him to shake, and he puts his paw there, and then I slide the harness up his leg. And here's a combination using that ramp, and with Juno, she is not comfortable putting a lot of weight in her back legs, but using shake on the ramp worked well to get her paws in position. And here's using a snuffle mat. This was a little fussier as well, like it took more adjustments. You can see there I'm reaching a little bit, moving the harness around a bit until I get her paws right in the position I need, and then I can lift it up. Okay, so quick summary then, some ways we looked at today of getting your dog's legs into a step-in harness without just grabbing their legs and sticking them into the harness, which is a problem for many dogs who are sensitive to handling. You can lure with treats. If your dog knows a sit pretty, you can ask them for that and then put the harness on. A shake or a high five can get them to put their paw where you need them to. If you have your hand sort of as the target underneath the harness. Sometimes a licky mat or snuffle mat distraction is helpful. And if you've already trained your dog to target things with their paw, or you like training that kind of thing, you could use a paw target on the floor to get your dog to put their paw into the harness. All right, everybody, I hope you found this helpful. If you want to stay in the loop and get our weekly newsletter, get alerted to these free videos and also any new sort of offerings we might have or discounts, go to the link at the bottom of the slide, dogkindtraining.com/newsletter, and you'll start getting our weekly newsletters. All right, everyone, have a lovely week. I'll see you next week.